right, guys, welcome back to my channel. I was just here with you guys like less than an hour ago, but we're back today, and I have a guest named Milagros, which stands for miracles in Spanish. So I'm going to bring her in right now. There she is.
Hey,
How you doing?
good. How are you? How's everyone tonight?
I think we're all doing lovely. We had 35 people on earlier, just an hour ago. So hopefully some of those people will hop back on and join our stream right now.
Yeah, it's only
Um,
8:30 on the West Coast, so
oh, it's early. Yeah, it's 10:30 here in Puerto Vallarta. Have
no,
you uh, have you been out here before?
I've never been to Mexico.
Are you Mexican?
No, I'm Peruvian.
Oh, that's right. You're Peruvian. Same shit, right?
Tropical Mexican.
That's right. You have a passport?
I don't have a passport. I can get a passport, but the one I have is expired.
Is Mexico high on your list of places you want to travel, or is it just like you don't want to ever come here?
I think it's something that San Diegans do a lot, but being from Northern California, we always kind of looked at San Diegans when they did that like with fear because we know that not the greatest things happen over there. So,
In Mexico?
well, yeah, just we just don't hear a lot of good stories, but I think it has a lot to do more with the fact that people go there without like strong men or the presence of a man because when you go there alone with like as a female, it's kind of scary. And I know for the last 2 weeks there's been a lot of problems going on over there with them raping girls and everything. As far as the
Really?
girls, yeah, that are here from San Diego, I've heard a couple of stories. Just because girls are dumb sometimes, they go out there and they get drunk and then they have no one watching them. Like I wouldn't do that out here in the U.S., let alone in a country where a lot of cartel happens and everything like that. So those people they have no shame in what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I spent about 6 months here last year in 2021,
Mhm.
and I only got drugged once at the casino.
Oh my
They
gosh.
they spiked my drink with Everclear
Ah,
because I was winning too much money, and they wanted me to either get drunk and lose
or get drunk and leave.
or get drunk and leave. And it's a casino I was going to often, so I wasn't really worried or fearful of my life. But
Mhm.
I remember stepping outside the casino at 7 a.m. in the morning. It's a good thing I left it in the morning because it was already like sunlight. Um, and the blackout hit me. I experienced the blackout in real time, and it was pretty scary. But I wasn't drinking to get that drunk. It just kind of happened because my drink was spiked. But I always
Right.
tell people in Mexico, like, just be cautious. Don't act a fool.
Mhm.
Don't draw attention to yourself, and never drive between cities here. Like, there's no need to be on the highways here. That's usually where people get kidnapped or killed. So if
Yeah.
you're going to
See,
travel, bus or airplane.
see
That's
how
it.
comfortable they were to spike your drink just to get you out. So imagine how comfortable they are to spike like someone who looks so, easy right now at that moment because she's being so like careless with her drinking habits.
That's right.
Um, and as the person who's usually the DD in the situation, like I can't always save you.
You don't drink?
And I don't drink. I'm more of a marijuana smoker or marijuana consumer. I don't like who I am on alcohol because I have way too much confidence and it's only gotten me into trouble. I already wake up with a confidence, like an abundance of confidence. So when I drink, I just seem arrogant and I don't care to be that person.
Yeah,
um,
Jordan Peterson. I was watching him this
mhm.
video. You know Jordan Peterson, right?
Yes.
And he was talking about alcohol, how it's fun. It is fun.
Hmm.
Alcohol is super fun, and it does give you more confidence. It makes you more relaxed, but it also makes you more impulsive. It
Hmm.
makes you unaware of long-term consequences, and it makes you do and say stupid things. And I think what's interesting is alcohol can create close friendships, right? Like some of
Mhm.
my best friendships have been made over drinks at the casino, at the blackjack
Mhm.
table, drinking whiskeys and smoking cigarettes and having fun. But it can also, I've gotten into fistfights with my best friends because we were drinking too much.
Mm.
And then you have to awkwardly, the next day, you kind of have to walk of shame with your best friends. And that's horrible when you have to look them in the eye and be like, bro, I'm sorry for giving you a black eye.
Yeah.
So, these days I actually don't drink that much. Uh, and I feel so much better. My sleep is better. My life just feels a lot more in control when I'm not blacking out every other week like I did in college.
No,
What's your
yeah.
favorite kind of marijuana? What do you like? Like,
I prefer the sativas, which is more of the uplifting ones. I really can't do indicas because it makes me not move, and I think that's what people use it for, which is the painless feeling. I don't
hmm,
really have any body aches. I just like how um, I don't know, it's just like uplifting. It's not, it doesn't make you numb or make you go to sleep or anything like that. The sativas at least. I don't care for the indicas because like I said, I just sit there and I can't move and then I'm in my head and I usually get to a really emotional state and I don't like that.
do you ever smoke so much that you get like paranoid?
That doesn't happen to me. That usually happens to people who have anxiety already and they'll smoke a sativa and that's the one that'll trigger them to like have a reaction, a panic attack or an anxiety attack.
Yeah, that happened to me when I was younger. I remember I smoked for the first time or got high for the first time,
Mhm.
and I found myself in a fetal position on the ground, just trying to
Yeah.
escape that feeling. I wanted it to end and go away. So I called my friend, who at the time was a big pothead, and he said to me, "Adam, go to your room, shut the fuck up, and put on some Eminem music." Because at the time I loved Eminem, and that advice was so powerful because it made me appreciate Eminem in a way that I had never appreciated before. Just
Nice.
hearing the way not only does he rhyme words, but the way he pronounces words throughout a song, it's like very melodic. And I never would have noticed that if I wasn't blazed out of my mind that day.
Hmm.
And I found myself watching sports when I was high, and I thought watching these NBA athletes move was like it was in slow motion, and it was the first time I really appreciated the complexity of their maneuvers in the air. And I was like, basketball is the coolest sport in the world. Oh my god! So I do enjoy marijuana. I just do
Mhm.
not smoke very often because I just don't trust. I don't trust anything right now. I don't trust sources. Like I don't want to get hit with some fentanyl laced marijuana. I hear that's a
Oh,
thing.
I definitely understand that, and that's the part of California that I don't understand because I kind of hate that they legalized it here. Um, there was already a lot of people growing out of their houses, um, and they really do make it, I guess what you would say, safer, but they also make it too potent, and it kind of ruins the whole like anyone who wants to smoke weed, it kind of ruins them, and I think it does turn to an addiction because your tolerance gets so high. But that's like $70 for an eighth, like those dispensary, fancy dispensary weed. And I'm just like, who is paying $70 for an eighth when you have so many plugs in the Southern California area? And you can go like in the hood and you can go into like the suburban, nice gated areas and you'll have people growing weed everywhere. I I don't know anyone who couldn't like turn a corner here and turn a corner there that wouldn't find someone who grows weed in their house because it wasn't a fast process getting us here to legalize weed. It was actually a very, very slow process. I always make a joke that if you came to San Diego and you didn't already have a career and you started off with nothing and no one was helping you, you either had a sugar daddy or you worked for an illegal dispensary. And I don't believe you if you didn't. So I worked in those underground illegal dispensaries. They were consistently being like rated and everything like that. And it is very like, I don't know, drug dealer kind of stuff, but it's legal. Like it was legal to do it. It was like allowed to do, but I don't know. I think they ruined it, making it legal here. I think they should have just, because it's like allowing another thing that you allowed the government to interfere in, and it ruined it.
Well, I will say that Democrats are good for one thing, which is legalizing marijuana. So I will say that that's the one thing I appreciate the Democrats
But
for.
it doesn't make sense unless you start taking the offenses of people who you've locked up for this out of prison, or you start putting that foot forward towards that. You can't just legalize it and then everyone who got caught with something or passing something around or selling something is still not even given the chance to come forth like over a judge or anything like that. Like you're still considered like uh, what is it for the federal it's a almost section 1 drug, right? It's almost counted as heroin. So I think that's just crazy. That part is kind of not fair, you know?
Yeah, they need to fully legalize marijuana nationwide. I'm on board with that. I don't think anybody who's blazed is really going out and committing crimes. I think people, if anything, are they smoke weed, they calm the fuck down, and they just want to
Mhm.
watch a comedy show or watch sports or listen to music.
Mhm.
And it's far less dangerous than alcohol. And that to me is if alcohol is legal, then there's no reason marijuana shouldn't be legal. That's
Right.
just the bottom line. If anything,
Legalize it and get it out of the like justice system too. Like when you while legalizing it.
exactly. You mentioned earlier that San Diego's are either sugar babies or working for a pot dispensary. I actually, when I was in California, I matched
Mhm.
with a girl on Tinder,
Mhm.
and she ended up having an OnlyFans, followed by working for a pot dispensary. So
Oh my God.
her Instagram literally is exactly what you said. She went from a sugar baby, essentially a sugar baby of OnlyFans, to
Mhm.
working for a weed dispensary. So
Interesting.
not gonna shout out her name because I don't need to draw attention to her like that. But
No,
definitely
I definitely get the hard time thing situation that women probably get into, and yeah, I never thought I would work for an illegal dispensary because I know I couldn't work for a legal one because of I have a felony on my record, so I know I could never work for a legal one. But desperate times calls for desperate measures, and I did what I had to do. I was delivering, and I actually wanted to quit, and I got so angry because I kept delivering to the low income housing that had just opened across the street from one of the biggest like brewery walkways. Like there's a bunch of breweries in one area, and it was probably like a 4 minute walk from there. They'd opened low income housing, and I was delivering no less than $200 worth of orders to low income housing. They were always like the whole apartment would smell like weed. There was always like babies on the floor. They were having a party. Music was bumping. It's like Tuesday at 2 p.m. Like, why aren't you at work? You know,
yeah
so it was almost like a culture that they had created in this apartment complex where it was just like party city all the time, like chill vibes, like don't let's not do anything. And you would see it at night how they would walk from uh the uh, the low income housing to the village where the all the breweries were. And I was just like, you know what, there's I have to do a lot to exist in California, and I just think this is kind of messed up. You made the mistake of not not making smart reproductive choices, got knocked up, and then you got rewarded with a house, and you only have to pay $200 a month or $100 a month, and sometimes I've even heard $50 a month. So to live in California, like what? It's just wild to me. So I actually told them I don't want to do this anymore. It's frustrating. It's making me angry. I want to quit. And they asked me not to quit because usually with the illegal ones, they don't want you going in and out of, you know, the like they don't want a lot of people going in and out of the job. So they asked me if I wanted to bake cookies, and the legal dispensaries used to do things where they would make their own pre-rolls, they would make their own edibles, they would do these little things on the side so they could make more money. So I baked cookies for a couple months, and I was just back there by myself. It was great. So better than being a sugar baby for sure. So
I don't know. I hear the
doing.
sugar baby life is pretty nice, and you know, I've alluded this on my channel before, and I'm pretty
Mhm.
open about it. I've had sugar babies here and there before, and
Mhm.
you know, it's definitely a way to drain the wallet real quick. But
Yeah.
you know, you get what you pay for. That's really what it comes what it comes down to. You're
Right.
essentially paying for the girlfriend experience. Um,
Mhm.
Someone in the comments, Noah, says that there are still freedom fighters in occupied California. And for those of you watching right now, Milagros here is actually one of the freedom fighters out there. It's unfortunate though that she has a private Instagram because her content is amazing and she shares a lot of red pills. I think would you say you're part of the red pill community?
I'd say I am now for sure.
Yeah. So you mentioned something
If
earlier,
you see my
which
shirt, it says danger, toxic masculinity.
I love toxic masculinity. I went to the gym today and
Uh-huh.
I bench pressed and I felt super toxic and I
Oh my
loved it.
gosh. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
because
I held myself accountable today, so I felt super toxic today.
what did you do?
I just was like talking to myself about how I'm kind of working, but not putting any other like personal stuff first. And like I know that's gonna put me in a masculine state, and that's not healthy. Even if you do get fed this stuff as like a female, like work, be independent, all this isn't like American modern women
That's the Western
propaganda.
values.
Yeah, modern women propaganda. I know that if I make less money and I just focus on the things that'll better myself as a woman, I know that I'll still be happy. Because I don't really think that I derive my value from my wealth anymore, and I used to think that way, and I don't.
Most women, sad. This is just the sad reality.
Mhm.
Um, and all the data you can ask people on their deathbed. Women tend to be happier through family
Mhm.
than they ever do through a career,
This is
and
how yeah. That's
that's
how
something that modern women are not told.
yeah.
And unfortunately, women, due to their biological clocks and the expiration of their eggs, their windows are not as long as men are. And I think Jordan Peterson said it that if a woman really does want to have a family, she has to have
Mhm.
most of her life in order by the time she's 30.
Mhm.
That's that's really the age where women are like their desirability. I mean, for men, that's where there's really like a drop off in desirability. So I think that COVID and the lockdowns and the mandates and all the issues today are kind of causing a reawakening with women now.
Mhm.
And I hope that we get pushed back a little bit more towards the traditional side.
Right.
And that's why
Uh.
I want to have a family,
Mhm.
but I'm not doing it with an American woman
Mhm.
because they're too progressive.
That's what
And
I've heard. That's what I've
I'm
heard is that it's like not it'll happen, but it probably won't happen with an American woman.
and I honestly I wouldn't even waste my time dating an American woman at this point. Like American woman and me, I have no interest in dating an American girl right now. It's very sad to say that, but I'm at the point now where the only option I have left is to go overseas
Mhm.
to a developing country like Philippines
Right.
or somewhere in South America or Vietnam. That's
Even
where
then, like, because if I think of South America, even then the feminism has infiltrated into there
it's
too.
already it's already here. It's already here.
Right, and you never know if you're gonna have some predatorial woman. That predatorial women are everywhere. They're not just
Right.
in. And what I mean by predatorial women for everyone who's watching is not someone who is like sexual predatorial. It's the opposite. Women use their sexuality to get resources.
Right.
That's the way that they're predatorial.
Financial
And
predatorial.
yeah,
Yep.
and women know that if they get a baby from you, they're going to have the they're going to have that locked down because they're trying to find provision, which is natural in us to find provision like protectors and provisioners. But some people don't understand that like they, you can't do that because it's like it's so wrong for the child. Like it's just going to end up the child's going to end up like in a bad situation because they think, oh, if I can find a rich man and financially provide for myself and the child, then I will be okay, and the child will be okay because money will be there. And it's like, no, money is not the thing that's going to make someone become a great person. It's a two-parent household, nuclear family, and people who put the child's well-being first, so they're at a statistical advantage versus how much money the parents are bringing in. Sorry, Champion, come here.
Don't worry about it. That your dog's name is Champion.
Yeah.
Let me see the dog. Put him on the stream.
Come here, bud.
You can't have a barking dog and then not show who the dog is.
He went to go sit down. He's 14. I'll show you
Oh,
some pictures of him. Yeah, he'll hear air and then he'll start barking because his hearing's going. So
is he a good boy?
He is a very good man. He is not a boy anymore. He is a grown ass man.
I do miss having a boy dog. I had a boy dog named Flex. And,
Come
I don't
here.
know. I just feel like I feel like it's a slightly different relationship.
Oh my gosh, these guys.
It's all good. Don't worry. This is a dog friendly show. We uh we love our dogs on this channel. I don't know. I just feel like the relationship with the male dog was a little different than my relationship with the female dog. Like
So
when I
now I know what's happening. My roommate is just bringing in her dog, so he's going insane. 1 second.
uh, it's all right. But I will say, like when I would kiss my girl dogs, I feel a little bit less gay about it than when I would used to hug and kiss my male dog. But it is Pride Month, so this would have
Oh
been a great
God.
this would have been a great month to have a male dog and just give him all the kisses in the world. I miss my boy, but
Oh, Pride
yeah,
Month.
show a picture of Champion when you have a moment. So you had mentioned earlier that you had a felony. Is that something that you talk about ever, or is that pretty private?
It's something I do talk about just because I am a pretty big advocate of men. Because of my felony, I've been in the rooms with many men where I've only been the only woman because I got I got charged with something usually men usually get charged with, not women. And I was very humbled by the entire experience because I know that the man that got my charge, that got the lowest amount of prison time, actually was still over 5 years, and I spent less than a year in prison. Um,
So I remember I was watching your Instagram story and
hmm
I heard a little bit about it and I was completely shocked that this happened to you.
hmm
Um, so are you able to share, do you want to share the story or?
Yeah, so when I was 19, I went to a party on a military base and I had sex with a female Marine. And she had brought her baby to the party and put him in the room with these these dogs that were there. And she had gotten drunk. We were getting drunk and we were making out during the party. And when we had gone up there to change, we were talking, and then I really don't know what happened because I'm like drunk, right? But I know that there was like we were obviously kissing in front of people, and I have all the evidence of people in that party who like said yes, like they were making out, both of them were drunk, etc. Right? This is also the first time I had ever gotten drunk in my life. It was at a New Year's Eve party, so it was 2012 going into 2013, and she was 26 in the Marine Corps, and I was 19 civilian. Um, like I said, I was going in and out of being drunk. Oh, where did Adam go?
I'm still here.
Okay. um, so that happened, and I think because she had put her baby in there, she thought her baby was in the room, so she panicked in the middle of it. It's kind of explicit, so I don't know how to like say this for YouTube, but I was having oral sex with her, but I was the one giving the oral sex. So I just saw her get up, and I assumed in that moment, because I was, drunk, I assumed maybe she thought her baby was in there, and she didn't know that she had actually thrown up on the bed previous to this happening, and they took the baby out and changed the seats and left her in there, and then I came in after. So I had just saw her get up and then leave. Um, and I also want to you guys to understand that this was before um, same-sex marriage was legalized in the United States. Okay, and this was in North Carolina. So the setting of this is gay sex is not really normal for this time period yet. And she had like a boyfriend. It wasn't the child's father, it was a boyfriend. And I think she was just really hung up on him, right? Because she really wanted a family. And he got really angry at her and he told her, so I don't know what happened, but and then she was also getting like manipulated by another friend. And I got taken out of the situation. Because I was drunk and I was sent home. And then next thing I know, NCIS is at my house. My friends are getting interviewed. Um, I'm getting interviewed, and the thing is, I messed up because the host of the party threatened someone that I love and said, if you tell them that you were getting drunk because we were underage, um, I'll make sure that like you don't go far in the military. And I got scared for that person, so I lied and I said I wasn't drunk. And it looked like I intentionally went in the room to hurt her while she was drunk and I wasn't, because my DNA was obviously on her, on the crotch of her panties. So why I'm really thankful about this whole situation is because I obviously didn't have any, like, I used to think I had this mentality of like having sex with women is okay because I'm not getting fucked. And it's kind of like a messed up mentality that I had when I was younger because of like sexual like the stuff that happened when I was a kid that was sexual abuse was from like women and girls. So I thought that that stuff, I normalized it for myself. And the only reason I got to the point where I understood that is because when you're going through a trial and you're on the defense, um, there's a psychiatrist that has to go through your life and figure out how you got to this position, right? And there was questions that I was asked in that day, and I like opened a box that I put in a box on the back of the closet in my mind, and I never thought about it again. She opened that, and I remember going home that day and like asking people like, did this happen to you when you were a kid? And they were like, no, Millie, that's not normal, that's not messed up, because I had normalized that for myself so much. I had made myself think that not having sexual boundaries around women is like okay. And I'm kind of glad that all of it happened. You know, I'm obviously like I hate that it went this way, but I'm glad that it did because that happened when we were preparing for when I had pled guilty, because I ended up pleading guilty because I like was so scared. I was facing 10 years. And you know, they scare you in the court system. They really, really scare you like to just plead guilty and not fight it. Um, if anyone is going through any type of court, fight it. Because if we all just fought it, the court system wouldn't be able to sustain all these people that are actually fighting their cases. Um, so I pled guilty, and then I had someone in my life take their life, and I basically it turned a switch on me, and I was like, okay, if I know I'm going to be facing prison time, like I know this is inevitable at this point in my life, right? At 20, I know it's inevitable that I'm going to face prison time. Um, I'm just going to make sure I go with the right mindset and everything. And obviously, because this stuff happened, I had like some level of depression and some level of like not wanting to live that was in me. So I made sure I took therapy before I got locked up. I had an intention to read, I had like a list of books that I intended to read when I was in prison. And then I also got confirmed in prison. And when I got out, the first thing I did was go to beauty school and I got my license so I could do nails. And I would say that it's the best thing that happened to me because I was so young when it happened. It taught me about those sexual boundaries. And then any time after that, when I decided to date, I had to like expose this stuff to the person I was dating. So I took dating and having sex with someone very serious. Um, and I didn't understand how good that was until later. I just found it like, you know, okay for myself because I always considered myself a stage 5 clinger and being very proud of it when it comes to men, right? And and I just use it as an excuse to be like, okay, like I can do this because it'll be better for myself. And that really helped me because one of the things that I was brainwashed from the feminism movement, not even for myself, was that women having high body counts is okay. And I know that now it really isn't because I see the damage that it's done to women around me because obviously like I said, I do nails. I've been doing nails for 7 years. I've held the hands of many women. So you can tell when a woman is a little bit more promiscuous than others, and you can tell where they're, you know, you ask them about their life and everything, and they always seem a little more unhappy, and a little more empty, and that can't hold relationships, usually not married, etc., etc. Um, and I also just recently have learned because I'm looking at all my friendships in the past 10 years. Because, like I said, I didn't think twice about women having high body counts being bad people. I didn't think that having women with high body counts who were friends was a bad thing. And let me tell you, that is like the worst thing you could do to yourself as a young young woman is have friends who have high body counts or have friends who make irresponsible decisions like get abortions or get pregnant by men who are like out of wedlock and everything like that. Because if you want to be a wife and a mother, you should make friends with women who are wives and mothers. Um,
Yeah, they. I think you might have. I don't know if you posted this or maybe your friend did. The Sapien girl. What's her name?
yes, the real femme sapien.
Yeah, someone put a thing where it said a car that has a lot of mileage tends to be worth less.
Yeah. And see, I used to say these things about myself like they were bad, but now I'm like, damn, it wasn't that bad because if I think about it, like it really didn't devalue myself. Only I felt the hurt. But I used to say like things like I'm a repeat offender because I'd go back to exes a lot just to keep the mileage low. And like people would laugh at me, and I'm like, but do you not understand? And like the other day, I remember I was talking to someone, and they were saying something along the lines like, "So when do you plan on dating again?" And I was just like, "Well, this having this again would be nice, having this again would be nice, and having this again would be nice." And one of the things that I said was like having intimacy and having sex like that. And she's like, "Oh, girl, don't you know that you could go on Tinder and you could do this or you could do that?" And I was like, my friend, I can walk outside and men would come out of bushes. That's not the point. Like I think women think like we have to think of sex like men, and it's like no, that's what the world is telling you. But I know for a fact that these chicks that have sex with just anyone, they are so sad. They're so sad and their life is such chaos. Because they have been used so much and it doesn't feel good. Like it does not feel good, and we sit in our emotions. We sit like our emotions are our reality. So if we think like we weren't enough or we were useless for this person, like we will always think that for of ourselves.
Somebody here asked, "What was the charge exactly?"
Sexual abuse, sexual assault, basically. Yes.
Yeah, I mean this really goes to show. Like, I mean, I'm looking at you with the glasses on it, wearing those little innocent glasses, and you seem to be very very self aware.
I'm
And
blind. The
so,
glasses are not for innocence.
but it's just obviously when I saw the story on Instagram, I was just shocked that this happened to you.
People
And
are always shocked. People
yeah,
usually don't believe me.
now the reason why this ties to the title of our video today is
Hmm.
because today there was a big defamation suit between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. And I'm curious because obviously you've been part of the justice system. You've been accused of, sexual battery, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what it was called. Um, what is your reaction to the whole case?
So this was more of like defamation because she accused him of physical abuse. But what I can speak of on my account is sexual assault and sexual abuse, and what the like I said, the rooms that I've been in where I have been the only woman. Because obviously it wasn't like go to jail and get out. Like it was go to jail, get out, and you're in all of these group therapies, you're in all of these one-on-one therapies, because it's literally the government saying we have to make sure you can't ever rape someone again. And like honestly, that was probably the best thing they could have done for me because I got therapy on the government's tab, and I got to process everything that happened to me as a child and understand why it was wrong and to make healthier decisions sexually. And also, someone taught me how to talk about my case so that way I can express it to people that I wanted to get close to. And that's another reason why I love the US is because they wouldn't have gone down this way if it was anywhere else, you know? Um, and for the sexual abuse one, the way that I think of it and the sexual assault that men get accused of, one time I heard someone explain the way women and men get turned on like this. Men get turned on like a switch, and women get turned on like a knob. So you either know a man wants to have sex or he doesn't want to have sex. Like it's yes or no. With women, like they're like, well, maybe the more you keep doing this, the more you keep doing that, maybe you might get there, right? And any man who has had a sexual encounter with a woman or a woman or whatever understands that this is how women operate in the bedroom. So there's a lot of gray area when, especially when it comes to heterosexual encounters. There's a lot of gray area that happens before a girl is even in a position where she can be that vulnerable. And I think because men are so big, strong, and they overpower women, there is always this assumption that they took advantage. And a lot of the times, um, these women are someone who is close to them. It's not like this boogeyman concept that is like this man that came out of the bush. It's someone that's usually close to them, someone that their friends might have met, et cetera, et cetera. And no one will believe that man after someone has like come out and said something. Um, I've I've heard women say things like, I got drunk, I did this, I like explain the whole story and talk about all these drugs that they did before they had sex, and then talk about how they feel used by him. But when in reality, what happened is you opened your legs because you got inebriated and you got intoxicated, and so it made you vulnerable enough to open your legs, and then you regretted it, and you are used because he's not gonna take you serious if you did that fast, or you're also inebriated and you're doing this inebriated. He's just gonna think like, oh, you do this for everyone. And that's the other thing, is men don't think of sex as an intimacy thing. It's just an act to them. So if the world already knows that,
Most
they're
of the
gonna
time.
think, most of the time, right? If the
I
world
when because look, I mean, I'll be honest, most of the sex I've had in my life
Mhm.
has been purely physical. Um, you know, generally speaking, there is zero intimacy in
Right.
a lot of the times I've had sex historically. Now, on the handful of
Historically.
times that I've had intimate sex with the woman who I actually deeply cared about or cared for, it is, in my opinion, a different experience. And
Mhm.
it's a lot more meaningful. Let me put it that way. Like I don't really feel shame if I just have a one night stand with somebody.
Mhm.
But when it's somebody that I deeply cared about or really loved, there was a sense of pride and fulfillment that came with the sex, in
Mhm.
addition to the orgasm. So, I mean, I think that's a beautiful thing. If you could find that. However, I've always been a proponent of, even if you can't find intimacy, sex by itself is still very healthy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of health benefits of having
For
sex.
for men for sure.
Right.
And you
I mean,
guys can definitely turn that switch of like emotional disconnection off. But like
right.
I was saying, the world knows that. The world knows that you guys can do that. So I think they assume that you're after it all the time. So if a girl says, "Oh, we got intimate, or we were in this situation," um, I don't think it's asked enough, or it's actually made like we're kind of looked at the villains if we start asking like, "Well, where were you? Why were you in his room? Why did you act like that, or did you tell him that, did you actually send him this picture?" That's another thing, is like girls will send pictures, or they'll be like very sexy, posting your bikini pictures, and there being multiple of them on your Instagram, to me says that you're a very sexual person and you like to be free and everything like that. So I can't imagine what a guy is thinking, um with what they want. So it's just always made the assumption, I guess, on men that uh, because of their strength and because of how powerful they are, which is an oxymoron, because they want to say that we're not, they're not as strong as, or we're just as strong as them, but we know that they're not, because we assume that they're hurting us, or that they could hurt us. And if anytime we had a situation where it's like we don't know and it's in question, we just assume that the man is the abuser. Um, and I guess that's just like, to me, that is one of the things that I want to help people understand, that that's not usually the case. And I think that's why Amber Heard is such a good thing, because it held to accountability what she did, which is, it ruins a man's reputation. And a man's reputation is ruined, that means his word is ruined, and a man is nothing without his word. So he can't, and look, he lost all of that ability to provide, and to have, his everything that he worked for. He almost lost it all. And thank God it happened to someone who was so loved, right? Like Johnny Depp is very, very loved, I think, and
He's been
hopefully
famous his
from
whole life.
yeah, hopefully he just goes a different path because and not goes again because I think it was also some simp behavior there as well. He didn't have to deal with that. He's a multimillionaire. And it's kind of like a Will Smith situation where it's like you guys just don't understand how valuable you are. Um,
Well,
and
you have to understand something. There's a lot of theories about like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett that despite Will Smith being an enviable man in terms of appearance, body, wealth, status, all that
hmm
stuff, people think that Jada Pinkett tore him down emotionally and made him feel like he was less than he is.
hmm
And sometimes I see women giving that advice about how you want to break a man's spirit, you want to bring him down, so that
no,
way,
there's
I mean,
yeah.
people do that in relationships. You know, I've dated girls where I became a way worse version of myself,
hmm
and I've dated women where I became a better version of myself. You know, it can go either direction. I've been both. I've been both experiences, and I remember about 10 years ago, I was dating a this Korean chick from California,
hmm
super pothead, super pothead, and we were in New York, and she was the first girl with implants I ever dated. So I don't know if you know this, but 10, 15 years ago, to find a chick in New York with breast implants was very uncommon. You know,
hmm.
it was common in California or Florida, but not in New York. You
Because
just,
they wanted
you,
the skinny.
yeah, you just don't see it out there. So when I found it, an Asian girl with breast implants, I was just smitten because I
hmm
was like, yo, I got the porn star I've always wanted. Like this is what I was into.
Right.
And at the time, you know, I was lifting weights, not as big as I am now, but I was still pretty muscular. And my parents always warned me because you know my family's white. I'm
hmm
adopted, as you know.
hmm
But my mom always said to me growing up, Adam, you got to be careful because you are a Latino male. If you continue to get big, people are going to have stereotypes about you
hmm
that you're some kind of like fighter or you're aggressive with women. Now, I'm really not. Like, I'm not a fighter at all. I avoid conflict. But when I dated this chick, she was a pothead, she was an alcoholic, and she
hmm
was harboring decades of sexual abuse that she just suppressed. And so she would black out and use drugs to kind of escape. You
hmm
know, I don't blame the girl in hindsight. I feel bad for her. Never should have dated her in the first place, but I dated her. And one time I brought her to a company event in Jamaica, the country of Jamaica,
hmm
and it was open bar. And one of my colleagues had warned me that if I'm going to bring a girlfriend to a company event, to be careful that she won't ruin my career. He told me this. He said, make sure that you bring somebody who can handle themselves.
hmm
Well, lo and behold, she could not handle her alcohol. And as a result, it drove me. And again, I'm not going to blame it on her, but I went down to her level and I would just get drunk, blackout drunk all the time together. And at this event, she got so drunk, she had a blackout where she had a flashback to when she was being abused as a little girl
hmm.
and started to hit me in public, swinging
Oh
at
my
me, punching
gosh.
me, saying, "Don't hurt me, don't hurt me." Now, I've never put a hand on this chick at all. So you can imagine my shock in this moment being accused of something I never did before. I was like, this is
hmm
fucking nuts. So I'm getting punched in the face, I'm getting hit. So finally, after 5 or 6 blows, I grab her by her wrists and I just say, "Stop hitting me." But of course, what do you think the witnesses saw?
hmm
They didn't see her physically attacking me. All they saw was me grabbing her wrists.
hmm
So everything my mom had warned me about you know my the way I look, my muscles, my wearing a wife beater,
hmm
and the way she was behaving, it was a perfect storm. And the aftermath was some of the journalists there wanted to write up a whole story how there was a like a Latin abuser at the event, which would have been me,
Mm.
and how I put my hands on this poor little Asian girl and how I abused her. And it was just a fucking horrible moment in my life. Ultimately, she did snap out of it. She sobered up and she explained what happened, how she has flashbacks to trauma when she was a little girl, and I was found to be completely innocent, and I was, off the hook. Thank God. But that shit happens. This shit
Yeah.
happens all the time to innocent people,
Hmm.
and
And it doesn't.
it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
And I understand. Like, it's funny when I tell my story, people are like, "Well, you're not denying that you had sex with her." And I said, I'm not denying that I had sex with her. I'm completely being honest that I did. I'm saying that there was just a lot of gray area. And the gray area that wasn't there is that there was 10 witnesses to me being drunk off my ass and her being drunk off her ass. But then the second I said, I'm not drunk, because you guys don't question that. You're NCIS. You don't say, okay, this 19-year-old girl just said she's not drunk. Is she being threatened? Is there something else going on? It's like, nope, case closed. One more for the books. Like, let's move on to the next one. And like I said, I was scared. It was before same-sex marriage was legalized. So, and it was in North Carolina. Like, this is not the place to be gay. Like, this is not the place and the time to be gay. And I was like, I didn't want to expose myself of that. And I also I didn't want to put it out there that I was interested in women, because I had always been ashamed of it. And I knew why I was ashamed of it, but one of the reasons why is I never considered myself gay, because I always was very honest about the fact that I wanted to have sex with women, but I never saw myself in the rocking chair with them at the end of my life. So it was my way of being promiscuous, or having sex without actually increasing my body count. But I obviously didn't understand what that meant at that
Well,
time. Um,
it's almost like women who only have anal sex because then it doesn't count towards their number.
right. Just no accountability. At the
I'm
time,
like,
I had
no, I'm
no
like that
accountability.
that counts.
Yeah.
If a penis is going into in any orifice, except maybe the mouth. I don't think the mouth counts. But I mean, I guess, do you consider oral sex to be sex?
I don't know.
Like for a girl that gives 100 blowjobs, did she sleep with 100 men? I would say no. I would say she'd still be a virgin and still be at zero,
I don't
right?
know. I don't know. I don't know how it all works, but I just know men don't like women who've been promiscuous with too many men.
Well, I'll say
Um,
this. I'll say this from a man who has been promiscuous in his life,
but that's good for you.
historically. Let me just say that, like, when I was younger, I loved promiscuous women because I knew that it increased my chances of sleeping with them.
Mhm.
Would I have committed or would I marry a promiscuous woman? No.
Right.
But I enjoyed their company because I knew that it would lead to a desired outcome.
Mhm.
But do I respect promiscuous women? I, I don't know if I disrespect them, but I do not think I respect them enough to marry them. I have a friend here who says that her friend slept with 20 people in a week out here. 20 in 1 week. She came out to Puerto Vallarta and just ran through 20 men in 1 week. And
Oh my god.
I've slept with girls that had super high body counts.
They
Um,
told you, so they came out and told you they weren't ashamed.
some girls are just they've taken the sexual liberation all the way, and
Oh
they treat
wow.
and they look at sex like men. And I'm an equal opportunist.
Mhm.
And so for me, as long as it's not looking at the lens of a potential wife,
Right.
and again, remember, I was a liberal for 36 years, 35 years of my life.
Mhm.
So I have very liberal views towards sex. I've always had liberal views towards sex and relationships, monogamy. What's interesting is being on the Trump train now, being a MAGA supporter, has made me more conservative when it comes to this kind of stuff, where I don't sleep around as much as I used to. I
Mhm.
now desire a family. I'm now inspired by people that have families, and I understand the importance of family. And that's something I didn't have before when I was a liberal. When you're a
Mhm.
liberal, you're being taught all the opposite.
Mhm.
You're being taught focus on your career,
Yep.
make your money, hook up with whoever you want to. It's
Mhm.
a very anti-family anti-structured lifestyle.
And I think
So
if we choose to follow that um, propaganda as women, then it's very easy for men to fall for it because we're just giving it up, and that's what we are doing. Like that the rate that women are having sex versus men is kind of scary. Um,
and it's mostly now it's getting way more extreme, but what we're seeing is women are gravitating towards even fewer percentage of the men out there.
mhm.
It's getting worse.
I always hear the 666. What is it? 6 figures, 6 feet tall. I don't know, 6 inches or something like that. Like just
Well,
so
I only
stupid.
I only right now fulfill one of those three. You could, and I'm not 6 feet. Let's just say that I don't have a job right
Yeah,
now,
I
so
just think
we know
it's
which
funny
one it
because
is.
I'm so short. I'm so short. I'm 5'2". So when I hear people say things like that, when they're 4'11" or 4'10", and I hear girls say things like, "I want a guy that's 6 feet," I'm like, why? Like you don't need him.
What 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 exactly do you want in your life right now? Are you looking? I mean, at some point,
Strong man, humble, strong man. Think uh with like that Spider-Man quote, a lot of power comes with great responsibility. So
that's
I
not the
think
that's not the
with
quote.
what is it? What is it? With yeah, it is.
Say it again.
With great power comes great responsibility,
Here you
right?
go. Yeah, you
There you
nailed it
go.
there.
The same thing, just different words.
And
But
how old are you? You're in your 20s,
20,
right?
28, yes.
You're so freaking young.
um, like I'm saying that you can be strong, you can be a strong man, but it just has to be humble. That's just like what I'm looking for in a man. Discipline, direction, and order definitely need to be led by someone strong. My last relationship was to someone who was pretty moderate. Um, and I think after 2020, because I went through this relationship in 2020 as well, after 2020, if you were moderate, it was very flashing lights that you were either a liberal or you were a conservative. So to me, he was very liberal, and I tried to respect his views, but it's just there's no alignment, and I think with young women, this is also why I'm very red pill, is because young women waste their time on men who have potential, because we want to believe so bad, and I think also I doubted myself because of my past. I was like, oh, okay, so like he wants to. I think it's great to be a pick me. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great to be a kind of girl who's a pick me, like to be a 5 stage clinger. I think it's way better to be that and get attached and all of that stuff than it is to just hop around from guy to guy and not feel anything. I will always pick that over for that any day, and I suggest women pick that over that any day. But when you fall for someone because you have low self-esteem and then you believe in their potential, and then you also have this mentality of the equal roles, and we all have a part here, and you I'm in my masculine a lot, it's not going to work. And then after that, the politics to me, because I was working underground, because I was my clients were literally parking in the back, coming through the back door, going through a dark hallway to get to my studio. When it got to that point, it's kind of feels like if you're moderate and you're against us being free, you're just kind of against me. And that doesn't feel good to be around a man that's like that in a relationship. So it didn't work out for those reasons. And I think a lot of people broke up um, during this time because of political reasons, because it's just getting to a point, it's like, really? You're going to agree with that? I can't imagine, all these other problems. Like I'll give you an example. M- my ex was in the education part of his profession, and I always wondered, like, because he was taking these certain college classes, if he would get brainwashed by it. But he didn't. He was like, I don't want to teach kids these things, all this stuff. But I wonder if there's someone out there that went through that, and their their significant other just was getting brainwashed in front of them, while they were in their relationship. And that's scary. So it makes people want to run right now, and run out of these bad relationships. as much as I see people, leaving these relationships, I see a lot of people for wanting to get married, like you said, moving more towards the conservative side because after 2020, moderate doesn't exist anymore. So you are very much on one side or you're on the other.
Moderate to me is a keyword for is a hidden word for conservative.
Respectful conservative around liberals.
I think that's what it is because
Yeah.
a conservative today is a moderate from 15 years ago, is a normal person 15 years ago
Yeah. You're
because
right.
the left has gone crazy. Think about
Yeah.
this. Think about this, right? I'm a right winger now, and I'm open about
Mhm.
that. I'm like I'm on the right wing. I don't give a fuck.
Mhm.
What exactly what do I believe in really? Strong borders, strong military, strong police. I want to have follow the Constitution. I don't think these are crazy right wing things. Stop killing
Yeah.
babies.
Mhm.
Your body, your choice when it comes to vaccines, free speech. Like these aren't crazy thoughts.
No.
And as a matter of fact, if you go back to the 90s, anti-establishment left. That's
Mhm.
basically where Republicans are today. Republicans have become the
Yeah.
anti-establishment.
Mhm.
So like we're the new liberals.
Yeah.
We're actually liberals on the conservative side. It's just
Because
it's all it's
what we're doing is so rebellious.
I mean, I'm identifying more these days as a libertarian. Now that I've been around politics for about 2 years now, 2.5 years, I've
Mhm.
realized that I'm more of a libertarian. If anything,
Mhm.
not the party, but just the mindset.
Mhm.
I'm still a registered independent. I haven't switched to the Republican side fully, even though I fight for them, just because I'm disappointed in a lot of Republicans. So I don't want
Mhm.
to like put my flag in the sand with all of them. Um, we got a lot of great
I
comments coming in
I
today,
feel the same
guys.
way.
A lot of great comments coming in. Thank you guys for everybody interacting. Do you think that Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp trial is the right result?
Um, was it 15 million or 15? Yeah, 15 million, right?
But the fact that
Um,
Johnny Depp basically was found, that he won, that Amber Heard did defame him.
I mean, so like I said before, what can you actually do? Can you change the mind of every single person that believes you're a freaking wife beater? Probably not. But he wanted to bring back his reputation, so his word meant something. And I think he put out a public announcement saying that, all he wanted in the end was for everyone to know the truth, even if private moments of his life were going to be shown and it was going to be embarrassing. He was like, I don't care. I'd rather it be out there so everyone could know the truth.
And of course,
Oh my God,
of course,
what?
the radical left is at it again right now, putting up beautiful headlines such as this: Amber Heard verdict sends a message to Black women everywhere. If the mistreatment of a
What's
wealthy,
that?
blonde-haired, blue-eyed white actress is ridiculed by the world, what does this mean for Black women?
Oh
Uh,
my gosh.
these people are sick. There is something wrong with them.
Mhm.
They are obsessed with race. They make everything about race, and it really just disturbs me how it's we're living in this country that's always about black and white, black and white. It's all they talk
It
about is black and white,
doesn't
black and
it
white.
doesn't it get exhausting to be a victim all the time?
It's so I mean that's really what it comes down to. If you believe in victimhood and oppression, then you're a liberal. If you believe that content of character overcomes all and that hard work beats everything, then you're a conservative. That's essentially that's what it boils down to.
Yeah,
Great.
I just don't understand why people of color fall for this propaganda all the time. The white liberal, I think, is kind of like someone who thinks of us like shelter puppies, and they want to just go to the shelter and take some pictures with the puppies, but then they leave us there. Um, or they buy like a garment from Goodwill because they just want to be do something good for the earth, but then they'll go buy a name brand thing, or they'll purchase that with a name brand purse. Like make no sense. They make no sense, and it's just really for their own egos, their own virtuous egos. I don't know what they think that they're doing. Because to me, every time I see posts like that, it's just like, oh, so you think black women are not going to have success in healthy relationships, and you think black women are going to fall into domestic violence. You obviously don't know the freaking statistics that most I think it's like 50% of domestic violence is, oh no, it's 50% of lesbian couples have like domestic violence problems. So it's actually women on women who are causing more of the domestic violence cases. And this act that like men are always the perpetrator. It's like, yeah, sometimes men are perpetrators, but the point of the story is not to tell other women that, oh, because of your skin color, you might not ever be believed or helped in this country. The point is to tell women, if you lie on men, you might be held accountable one day, and it's worse to be you than to be the guy who is now, can overcome that and show that you were lying.
That's right.
So yeah, I mean,
Somebody,
I'm sure like those moments that you were waiting during your work party for her to sober up and tell them the reality of what happened were probably one of the scariest moments of your life, right?
yeah, it was horrible. Someone
Yeah.
here said, celebrate the fact that this believe all women by default shit has come to an end. Depp got
I mean, I
justice, and
hope
that
so.
sends a clear message to lying C words everywhere. I got to say, guys, if you have not become a member of Patriots.win, it is formerly known as Donalds.win. And for those of you who don't know what Donalds.win is, it was basically the subreddit of Reddit. So on Reddit, there used to be reddit.com/the Donalds. That got banned for hate speech and misogyny and all that bullshit that they like to call us
Misogyny.
misogyny. So they made their own website, Donald.win. And when Donald Trump lost the election, they renamed it to Patriots.win. And the message board stays alive today. It's one of the best message boards out there. And if you guys want the really spicy content, then you could always go to conspiracies.win, which is where I get a lot of my news. So just so you guys are aware, I get my news Patriots.win as well as also conspiracies.win. Whatever you read on
Cool.
conspiracies, guys, take with a grain of salt. That's why it's under conspiracies.win. And if you guys want like more of the news and the cool memes, Patriots.win. So that's just some advice for you guys out there that are watching this stream. Yeah, Truth Social, obviously. Do you have Truth Social, Milagros?
I don't have Truth Social.
You didn't get it yet.
I didn't get it yet.
You got to get on that.
I do.
But congrats to Johnny Depp. I like seeing the truth win. That's ultimately what it comes down to for me, is that truth prevails, and that liars get caught. That's all. Now, I do think Amber Heard is quite attractive. I'm not going to lie. I think she's a very attractive
Even
woman.
in her age right now, or just before?
Right now, I think she's attractive.
I think she took the plastic surgery a little too far. She looks a little stuck.
Let's see, Amber Heard.
Champion.
You know what? She reminds me of the last girl I dated. She kind of looks like one of the girls I dated, guys. You know who I'm talking about.
I think
You guys
just
know
men.
who I'm talking about. She looks like I'm just going to say the name. She looks like Homesteading Patriot, the girl that I dated. Maybe that's why I find her endearing. Although apparently she did shit on the bed.
She did shit the bed.
So that's a pretty big turnoff.
Amber Turd.
That's a pretty big turnoff. Brian said the Florida girl. Yeah, the Florida girl that I dated for a hot minute from Benale. Do you know who I'm talking about, Milagros?
No.
Let me see if I can pull up a photo of us together. I don't know if she watches my channel. She might see this.
Oh no. She'll be all right.
What the hell is her name? I forgot her username. Let me see. Hold on. We're gonna do this together right now.
Was that your last relationship? Like you said, you dated her, so you took her serious.
Well, it was the last girl I dated, like quote unquote dated.
So you took her serious.
Um, I would say I would say that I was curious to see where it would go.
Oh, okay.
I would say that I was curious to see where it would go. Hold on, I'm pulling it in. So it looks a little like Amber Heard,
No, I can't see it. Hold on, I'm
slightly.
getting more close.
I mean,
Okay.
they're both white.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just two white chicks.
I think she doesn't have as much plastic surgery as Amber Heard does. I
Yeah,
think it's
she's what Amber Heard would look like if she aged naturally.
yeah, she's I think Amber Heard just did it too much with the face pulling.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You
it's a
know,
win for men.
a lot of like plastic surgery. I think in small doses, like Botox, can work, but at some point it becomes obvious and it starts to look like uncanny valley, which is when it looks like a little too perfect. You know, like when someone gets their teeth whitened but they go too white and then it just looks weird.
Mm.
It's kind of like that.
It looks fake, so it's not you don't get attracted to it as a man. Like biologically, it's kind of hard to get attracted to.
That's right. So a lot of the guys here in the feed, they know who I'm talking about. They recognize her from my channel. I was yeah, I put her in a few of my videos, which is probably which I don't really do too often. Usually the
Mhm.
girls I date, I keep that shit in the down low, but I was open about it because I enjoyed her company. I thought she was cool.
Yeah.
But rest in peace. She's just she's part of she's part of my past. She's still alive and well, guys. I don't mean rest in
That's
pieces
great.
as in and she's dead. Yeah, no, she's alive. She's alive and well. I think. I haven't spoken to her in a long time. So someone said, "Do you meet ladies online, Adam?" Uh, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm waiting to go to Philippines and Asia right now. I'm not wasting my time with any Western women. That's just the reality.
Nice.
It's the harsh reality. It's sad. It
Yeah.
is absolutely sad. But I'm not going to waste my time anymore. I'm not going to waste, more importantly, my money on people that don't appreciate it.
Mhm.
And you got to protect your net worth. And the next woman that I expect to spend money on is going to be the mother of my child.
Oh
And
yeah.
and that's really it. Like I don't really care to blow money on hood rats
Protect your
anymore.
seed.
That's right. Got to protect my seed. And now that my clock is ticking due to my failing kidneys, apparently, um, we really need to, find a match as soon as possible, so I can hopefully see a few years of my kid's life.
I'm sure you'll
Did,
be
did I
okay.
did I tell you did I tell you that I had a big scare with the doctor today?
No.
Yeah, I did a stream earlier, but I'll give you the quick cliff notes. I got my blood work done for the first time in 5 years,
Mhm.
and the doctor basically realized that my kidney function is not working correctly, and it's a problem I knew I had 14 years ago, but I just ignored it because I'm traumatized of doctors. Never went back, and now the bill comes due. So this Friday, they want me to see a kidney expert to see what can be done to salvage the remnants of my failing kidneys.
Mhm.
And the doctor said I have what appears to be the beginning stages of kidney failure.
Mhm.
Despite feeling great, he said my body has found a way to overcompensate for my kidney shortcomings. So, dialysis or transplant are probably in my future in the next 5 to 10 years at this point. So, my urgency to impregnate a woman is starting to increase.
Well, wouldn't it be great if your wife was your transplant? If
That
she
would
was
be,
the
but then
same.
she'd be down a kidney, so we would.
I mean, you don't. She doesn't need to be drinking. She's gonna be a wife and a mother.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I'm gonna hopefully find her in the Philippines or Vietnam or something.
Nice.
But I was telling my friend Five Star Pete earlier today, the worst case solution, the worst outcome here is that I die. And I said, ultimately, that's where we're all headed anyway. So
Yeah, it's
if
true.
that's the worst case solution, and we're all going to face it eventually anyway, and every
Mhm.
human being who's ever existed has faced it and will face it. All I
I
could do
think
is just enjoy the ride and be as healthy as I possibly can be for as long as possible,
right.
and stay upbeat and enjoy the time I have. So, you know, that's what I'm gonna try to do. I'll still be doing these streams until my dying breath, fighting for the future of America so that our kids can
Mhm.
enjoy the same freedoms that we've had our entire lives.
Seriously.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got to get Trump back. You're on the Trump train, aren't you?
100%.
God bless you. That's why you got that American flag behind you. If you didn't like Trump, you'd have a pride flag up there right now.
No, so you know what's funny? Even like I said before, anything, even if you weren't um like this whole Western woman thing, even if you weren't born here, you still get infiltrated with a lot of this propaganda. And I was very like infiltrated when it came to the race stuff. But I always had my American flag up, and I always did have a very prideful family, so that was always a part of me, to have pride in being in the U.S. But I had pride in being in the U.S., and I was blaming the U.S. also for problems that weren't true. It wasn't even for myself. I was just like about the whole police thing and everything. And once I did more research, it's like, okay, now I understand. But thankfully, I loving my country has always been something that's been a common denominator. And I think it's also something that brought me back to reality, which is patriotism feels very good. It doesn't feel good to hate your house, your home, and all of that. It feels good to love your home. So understanding that we're not perfect, but we're one of the greatest countries in the world, is very humbling and makes you proud to be an American. So it's
Have you
everywhere I
uh
go.
have you been to a Trump rally before?
No, I haven't. We talked about this.
I remember my first one. I went to March 2020, and that shit fucking changed my life.
Hmm.
That shit changed my life. I had never felt patriotic ever until I went to the Trump rally.
Aw.
It was a weird feeling. I'm just gonna tell you that it's a weird feeling when you get that first wave of patriotism, and I actually teared when Trump came out that time to a standing ovation for 3 minutes to the song "Proud to Be an American," and it
Yeah.
was it was the last. Oh, hey guys, it was the last indoor Trump rally before COVID upended all of
Mm.
our lives. And if I can go back in time and replay that moment, there it is. There I am. Look how young I look. This was me at the Trump rally. All right, guys, we are here inside the Trump rally. My first one. I was too scared to wear a MAGA hat back then, so I wore a Pepsi hat and like a Budweiser shirt because I was like, that sounds like America. I was like, that's like America. Oh man, these are the good old. There he is. There's the man. Yeah, Joe Biden. Good luck getting that. You'll never get that in your whole fucking 4 years, Joe Biden. You'll never experience that. You garbage president.
FJB.
That's right. All right. Do you want to
He's
share any closing
terrible.
thoughts? I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you the screen.
Closing thoughts. Okay, so I would say the safest thing for you to do as a man is to just have sexual receipts. So it proves that you have sexual she turned your, I guess, your relationship into for sexual interpretation. That way you can protect yourself. I think it's very very dangerous place right now for men because of the Me Too movement, of the feminism movement. There's this unfortunate like cloak that you have to wear as a man right now, that you are dangerous, you are trash, and you're possibly, a bad thing in for society. Like they really, really hate men. Like I think out here, like they're really just blaming men. In reality, what women are going through is just they're just not running into quality men, and they're not understanding how to communicate with you. So I just would just really want for men to understand that they should protect themselves, and they should not feel bad for holding women accountable, and make good decisions with your seed, please. um, and that's all. That's all I got to say.
Awesome. And we're going to be getting your friend hopefully on the show, the real femme sapien.
Cool, Ali. Yeah.
I think so. We've been DMing a little bit about maybe doing some kind of collab. We'll see what happens there. But I love you sharing your stories. I love how open you are. I love that you
Thank
are
you.
a spicy Latina mommy. And that you had that experience when you were a kid, but it sounds like it empowered you and made you a better person. So
100%.
no regrets about it, right?
No regrets. Shit happens, turn it into fertilizer and grow from it.
Oh God, I freaking love that. Remember, guys, with great power comes great responsibility.
100%.
That's the greatest quote.
Go
All
be
right.
great men.
If you guys want to follow her and she is willing to accept your invite into her life, her Instagram. Let me pull up your Instagram page real quick. I know you're private though, so if you get any followers, you don't have to accept them if you don't want to. Let's
So
see.
my page is public. It's
Oh, you went
just
public now?
it's just not shareable. Like you just can't share things.
Oh,
Um
maybe that's
because
why.
I had it set up a certain way like that because during 2020 I was like this restaurant is open, this bar is open, this salon is open. I was just running my mouth, and I didn't want people to share it because then it would bring it back to me, or it was more for the people who I knew that were going to be like cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
So
it's
here she
me.
is, guys. Miracles in Spanish.
Hey.
Apparently, she's public. And Milagros Millie. Milagros means miracles in Spanish, hence her username.
It's
And she
me.
shares a lot of red pilling moments. So there she is. Oh, chica guapa. Who is this? Who is that?
Hey.
Hey, what's up? What's up? So you guys, a lot of patriotism. Right here you go. I find all the patriots for you guys, the female hot patriots. Ooh la la. Who is this? Holy moly. Am I gonna go too deep? Am I gonna find some weird shit?
I don't think so. I think you're just gonna find more American flags and a girl having a good time.
You look like such a liberal.
Over there with my red hair.
Yeah, you look like a liberal.
I still hadn't. That's when I was probably like in college and little brainwashed into the ideas. But my mom was always been my best friend, so she always humbled me. She always held me accountable.
Well, let me just say you're pretty back then, but you're getting prettier as you age. So
Oh, thanks.
enjoy it, maximize that to the best of your ability.
Just
Because
to let
it's
you know, ladies, Adam's just being nice. Your value
uh,
is from your youth and beauty. Don't
you
forget.
look great. You look great. Look at this. Beautiful. All right, guys, I'm going to stop being creepy on the stream to my guests. I don't want to get that reputation. Thank you again for joining me today. I appreciate it,
Bye, guys.
and we'll see you soon. I'm going to close this out. All right.
All right. Bye. Have a good night.
All right, guys, that was Miracles in Spanish. I want to once again give her a huge thank you for spending an hour and 20 minutes with us today on this lovely Wednesday night here in Puerto Vallarta. She's based, I believe, in San Diego, in that area. So it's nice to have an international stream going on. I hope you guys enjoyed this big part of the Red Pill movement. And yeah, we're going to be doing more stuff like this in the near future. I'm going to have more one-on-one conversations, more candid talks. And if you guys have anybody in mind that you think would be a good guest or just wants to have a different platform to share whatever topics they want, you could tell them to DM me on Instagram. I'm happy to talk about anything: real estate, crypto, love, relationships, pop culture, news. Really, we could talk about anything here we want. And that's the beauty of having a YouTube channel. So thanks again, guys. I hope you all learned something today. And if you have any comments, drop them in the on Instagram. You can DM me there, Adam Francisco. Be free, my sheeple. You guys know my usernames there. And as always, God bless Trump. Be free, my sheeple. Let's go, Brandon. And I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll go back to doing some kind of news story. We'll talk more about the Tulsa shooting that happened today. Rest in peace to the victims. And we'll get some good news stories tomorrow live here on YouTube. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night. God bless.